Hey, what's up, everybody? Jonathan here from Wolftag Digital. I'm going to start doing a lot more content on YouTube and whatnot. I've been getting into AI a lot more, especially with the agents and using Hermes and using OpenClaw, Claude Code, Codex, both CLI and desktop application for my business. And I think a lot of the stuff that I've been doing for my own business can definitely help out many other people with their business. So I'm pretty new to this. I've been in 2 months. Shout out to Alex Finn. I've been learning from him, and he's been kind of guiding me through on how to get all this set up. You're welcome to join me in my journey and figure all this out. All right. So I just got a new machine here. I know he recommends Mac OS and a lot of things are going to Mac. I just really liked the NVIDIA graphics card that this HP Omen was able to provide these. So I'm going HP Omen route, but I've had it for about a couple months now. But now I see where things are going with Mac, especially with the browser use and stuff with some of these agents. But anyways, what I'm doing on this new laptop is I'm going to be setting up Hermes. I'm currently having a Hermes OpenClaw set up on my MSI laptop. It's an old gaming laptop that I had. Instead of going out and buying a brand new Mac, I decided to use the MSI GE75 Raider laptop that I have. So I got Hermes and OpenClaw set up there, Obsidian for memory system, Linear for project creating applications, software, and Discord for the agents to communicate with each other. I have both Hermes and my OpenClaw agent. His name is Logan. I have them both communicating each other on Discord. So I plan on expanding Discord further later, but I just wanted to get that set up first. The way I have it set up right now is basically Logan is my CEO and Hermes is my COO, CTO, Chief Technical Officer, and Chief Operations Officer. So if anything breaks with OpenClaw, I have Hermes go and fix it. And it works every time, and vice versa. I have OpenClaw go and fix Hermes. If both of them don't help each other, then I open up Claude Code, CLI, and have them repair both of them. I used to have it all on a Docker container for security just when these things first came out because I was unsure of how detrimental it would be with my files, but ended up not being so bad. So gave me a lot of control. So I moved it off of the container and put it up to save local rather than just going through a container. So on this machine, we're going to set up Hermes. All right. So I'm going to go through here and set up Hermes here. So let's see. First thing we got to do is PowerShell is pretty much out of date. So let's see. We're going to go to these instructions to update PowerShell. And this is basically terminal Windows, if you don't already know. If you're a beginner like me, I had to go and learn this from scratch, how to even open up PowerShell, how to go into terminal. But it's pretty simple once you go through it. I did this on my other machine. So we're just going to follow basically the instructions that Microsoft laid out for us to install PowerShell, update that. And then once we have PowerShell updated, next thing that we're going to want to do is install the Windows subsystem for Linux, okay, which is a WSL, which basically lets you install Linux on your Windows machine if you want to. Okay, so the reason why we want to do that is because Hermes requires WSL. WSL is a requirement to get Hermes on there. I mean, they do have a beta right now for Windows, but I just want to use what works right now. And then once they release the full Windows version, then I'll probably switch to that. But for right now, I'll follow their instructions. In order to install WSL, I want to make sure I'm on the latest PowerShell app. So let's see. It says here on the Windows, see what the output is. 7.6.10. This talks about different packages you can install depending on what you want to use it for. Let's see and get installed. So we're on the latest of PowerShell. So let's go ahead and move forward. All right, so now we're going to install WSL. We're going to run this command. We can just copy that, paste it in there so we don't have to type it. Quest elevation, yes. All right, now it's downloading the Windows subsystem for Linux, which is the WSL that we need. That's going to take a while, and we'll be right back when it finishes. Hey guys, all right, we're back. I'm in a hotel right now, so it had to install overnight, but everything installed. So now we're going to get back into here. So what occurred just now was that the WSL instance installed and now created a Unix user account, right? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my user account information locally here, and then I'm going to paste it. So I'm going to take the user account name, the password that I set up for it. I'm going to paste it into a document that I'm going to keep encrypted on my local machine, right? The software that I use for that is Notepad++. So it's a better version of Notepad. I like it better. So I just copy paste all my credentials there, and then I'm going to keep that in a vault, right? That is completely encrypted. So that's a good practice to do. Anytime you do any kind of credential saving document, you don't want it just in an open file format, okay? Where people can easily access. That's not encrypted. All right, so now it's asking, so we created the account. Let's see what it says. Would you like to opt in to platform metrics collection to see an example of data collected? Enter E. So I'm going to hit no. There you go. So now I am in my system 32 section, right? So basically what I'm going to do now is there's a couple options here, right? If you're not comfortable with doing this on your local machine and you want a little bit more security and still have it on your local machine, you can run it through a container. Okay, which is a little bit more complicated. Last time I set it up on a container, I used Docker Desktop. It took me probably 2 to 3 hours to set up because it was my first time ever going through it. And if you guys are interested, just type in the comments below that you want me to go through that, and I can create a separate video on how to do it through a container. Okay, a container basically just use it in a secure, and it does not get access to your actual root folders of your computer. Okay, so now what we're gonna do here is basically we're gonna follow the instructions. All right, so now looks like it all got set up. Now it's asking us, how would you like to set up Hermes? All right, well, we're gonna go with a quick setup. Okay, we just want to get it up and running as quick as possible. Anything else can be configured later. Okay, so it's not set in stone. Right. Select provider, news portal, OpenRouter, Studio, local desktop app with built-in model provider. So if you want to use local models, you can use LM Studio. I'll probably do a separate video on how to set that up with local models. Basically, you have to have it running in the background to use it, but I'll go to a separate video. Let's focus on Hermes, getting Hermes up. All right, Anthropic. So with Anthropic, you're going to have to use the API key, right? Which can get expensive. All right, so just keep that in mind. What I like to stick with is OpenAI Codex because right now that's the best model as of the time of this video. They have E5.5 Codex, and you can use OAuth with that. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. All right, let's see. So all we got to do here is basically just open this URL in the browser, and then I'm going to log in OAuth. All right, then it's going to ask me for that code. Take that code, paste it here. All right, now we're signed in. Go back here. Since I use Hermes basically as my chief operations officer, chief technical officer, and he works in tandem with my CEO, which is Logan, then I always want to have it on the best model. Okay, if I want any fallbacks, models, or I want sub agents to use different models, then I can configure that later. So right now I'm going to set up, have it use GPT 5.5. Okay, so select terminal backend. We'll run directly on this machine. You could have it the terminal backend, so it can either be local Docker is running directly on this machine. Okay, which is the default. Docker is isolated container with configurable resources. And modal serverless cloud sandbox. So you can be on a cloud sandbox if you want. SSH run on a remote machine. Daytona persistent cloud development environment. Versal sandbox cloud micro VM with snapshot file system persistence, Singularity, app container. These are a little bit more advanced. So let's just stick to the basics right now, right? So we're gonna just keep it current, local, okay? Set up messaging now. So let's go ahead and set up messaging. All right, yes, we're going to use Telegram. I'm already using Telegram. Okay, so these are some commands. So the setup is complete already. You can see here. Let's scroll up. So set to GPT 5.5, tool availability summary, vision, Hermes agents, web search, and extraction. So all this stuff can be set up later. Okay, we just wanted to get it up and running first. So you can see the skills is going to be up, terminal commands, task planning. All right, launch Hermes chat now. Yes. All right, now this is the Hermes agent. We are in. Looks pretty cool. Really like the user interface of this. I think they did a pretty good job. All right, so right now it's just thinking, going through its thing, trying to figure out how to get it done, right? Simple command. Let's set up Telegram. Let's see what happens. All right, so it's now giving us the instructions. Hermes needs your input. Check your Hermes config. Telegram is not configured yet, and the gateway is not running. Please paste your Telegram bot token from BotFather format, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ABC. If you do not have one yet, create it in Telegram by messaging at BotFather. Sending new bot. So let's go here to BotFather, and then let's hit new bot. Let's see, what are we gonna name our bot? All right, we're naming it Zeus. All right, I gotta make sure I hide all these tokens, post the edit of this video. All right, so let's see. Use this token to access the HTTP API. Let's copy that. All right, so I basically just grabbed my API and pasted it into my notes. I can use it for later if I need it. All right, so in Telegram, I'm just gonna click this and then hit start. See what happens. So basically just, opens up the chat, but we still need to finish configuring it up here in Hermes, right? So let's see, use this token to access HTTP API. So in Telegram. Okay, so, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate to my files. It wants me to go to the .env file, and it wants me to add a line there. Okay, so what I'm going to do in my file explorer, I'm going to navigate to this file. I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to take this exact line, and I'm going to take this bot token BotFather gave me, and then I'm going to remove this where it says paste your token here, and I'm just going to paste that token there. Okay, the exact same token. So couldn't find the Hermes folder. It's hidden. We're in WSL Linux terminal, right? So let's go ahead and open up another instance of the terminal, and wants us to type in these commands, right? So cd basically makes sure that we are in that folder. Okay, so it's listing everything in that folder. So we can see the .env file there. So we're going to go with nano Hermes E. All right, let's make sure there's no API keys here. So basically, when you open this .env file up, look, there's all these options that you have to add. So you can add Kimi, GLM, Olama, Minimax, OpenCode, Quen, Xiaomi. So we're going to add Telegram token, and then you're going to paste in your token that BotFather gave you. Paste it in there, press enter. What I'm going to do is hit Control X to exit, save modify buffer, hit yes, and then it's going to show which file it's writing to, and then hit enter. All right, so now we're back in here. So now we're going to hit a Hermes gateway, run that command. So the gateway is starting up. See how long that takes. So let's see what would happen if I put install start. So I tried it, had a bunch of failures, right? So it analyzed it. This is what happened, right? And then they just fixed it. Boom. And now you can see Telegram is good to go. So you can see stale task list happened because context compression preserved old pending items from earlier. Even though practical setup is not complete, I marked them completed. There we go. No sense in us trying to figure it out ourselves, right? This is way more smarter than we are. So let's ask it. Okay. Gateway is running manually in WSL, so it may stop if the launching terminal WSL session closes. Okay, so let's ask it. Go ahead. How do we get the gateway to run and not stop if the launching terminal WSL session closes? Good news. It looks like you already have the durable setup now. I checked system MD is enabled in WSL. Hermes gateway service exists. Gateway is running as a user system MD service. Linger is enabled, which means it survives logout terminal close. Current service status. It's running. All right. Durable way to use the system MD gateway service.
Sounds great. Do what you need to do to make sure we have a true always on behavior after Windows reboot. The Windows startup task that runs WSL, it starts the Hermes POA service.
All right, y'all. Just skip forward a little bit and just asked it to, hey, just make sure you stay on.
Whether the computer shuts down or comes back up, you always stay on, right? So Hermes did its own thing and got it set up. So it doesn't matter if Ubuntu is not working, it will always make sure that the WSL is up and running, and also that Hermes is running. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue in this chat. So again, I put here real quick, don't let this computer go to sleep on me, so we can keep working. So I had to step away for a bit, and that's what I just told it. And it said done. Disable Windows sleep and hibernate timers on both AC and battery. Okay. So even things like that, I just didn't have time to go in the settings and do it myself. So I just sent a quick deal like that and automatically modified the settings. Another thing I asked it to do was, hey, if you ever get like, hey, you know what? I don't really know what to do next, right? You can ask it, hey, what do we do next? So great. What do you recommend we do now to complete setting you up? And then it just gave me a list of recommendations, things to do. Okay. And then I just said, okay, do those in order. All right. And then it did all those things in order.
It's always a good idea to set up a fallback.
Just in case you run out of tokens, or you reach your max on your primary, and then you won't get these rate limit warnings. Okay. So you want to make sure you have your fallback good to go. So that way you can fall back on that. A lot of people, what they do is they use a local model with LM Studio. So I have that set up on my other machine. Okay. So the fallback model is actually a local model.
So here I go, and I asked it, okay, let's set up OpenRouter as fallback. So, and then it'll ask you some questions
and give you some instructions too, right? Because a lot of times you're pasting API keys. So anytime you paste API keys and stuff, don't put them on Telegram. When you're putting them on Telegram, you're basically exposing it. If anybody gets access to your Telegram somehow, you get hacked, now it's on your Telegram. Okay, so you manually want to do this the way I showed you earlier, right? You want to get access to your .env file, and then once you get access into that env file, just follow the instructions that it lays out for you to add those API keys. All right,
that's pretty much it. Here, I'm going to do this off screen, my own time, and I'm going to set up some fallback models. All right, just follow the instructions, and if you ever get stuck, lost, you don't know what to do, ask it. Ask your agent to help you out and break it down for you even more simpler. And sometimes I've run into some things where it tells me to do something I just don't know how to do. And then I tell it, I don't know how to do this. Either explain it or find a way to do it for me. And then it just
does it for me. No problem. Okay. So don't forget you have that option.
All right, guys, that's pretty much wraps it up. I hope you guys learned something today on how to set up Hermes. At least get the conversation going, and then you can go from there, right? That's a very basic, simple setup. Just get it online, get your Telegram going, get it connected to a model, and start the conversations going and see where it goes. If you want to get, set up sub agents and you want to work on coding project, work on application, see how Hermes can help you in your business, how to automate some tasks, just ask it. If you ever get confused, ask Hermes, hey, what can you do for me? These are my goals. This is my business. This is my service offering. And these are my personal goals too. So whatever business decisions we make, let's make sure it aligns with my personal goals. Okay. And where do you fit in this whole system? Where do you fit in my process? All right. So you're going to be surprised with some of the answers, right? It's got some good ideas for you. All right. So thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends. I'm trying to, grow this channel myself, and just starting out YouTube, trying to figure this whole YouTube thing out. So thank you again for watching, and have a good day.